Hello and welcome back to the What Happens Next podcast, the podcast dedicated to exploring some of the challenges we face when we're thinking about retirement or whatever happens next in your life. I'm your host, Chris Dames, and I'm a chartered financial planner. I've been doing that now for 20 years, and I love spending time with my clients and helping them navigate the next stage in their life. But what I realised was, even though I could help a lot with the money, there's issues and challenges we face when we're thinking about retirement that aren't financial at all. And it's really interesting because the more I explore these subjects, both through the reading I'm doing, through the research that I'm doing, but also through the experts that I'm getting to speak to, I've realised there's so much more to thinking about retirement or whatever happens next than just the money. And today I want to explore a subject that's really close to my heart. It's about looking at well-being. And even though we know hedonism, doing stuff we love and like, is one really important component of well-being, there's an element of well-being which isn't talked about enough. So in today's podcast, I want to share that aspect of well-being, share what that is, share what you can do to get more of it in your life, and help you live a better life by improving your well-being. Without further ado, let's get on with the show. So at the minute, I'm spending a lot of time writing the What Happens Next book. I'm 50,000 words in as I speak to you today, and currently working to make sure that the book adds as much value as we can to people thinking about that next stage in their lives. Now, the book's not ready yet. It won't be out until sometime in 2025. I'm working hard to get it finished. But what you can do is sign up for the book waiting list, so you're one of the first people that gets access. You can simply do that by visiting whathappensnext.life/book. Join the waiting list today, and you'll be one of the first person to get access to the book and some extra goodies when it comes out.
Now, I'm really lucky when I'm doing these What Happens Next because I get the privilege and the honour of speaking to loads of experts in wellbeing when we are creating these videos, creating this content. Now, all of that content, all of the guest interviews are all available on the What Happens Next YouTube channel, which I'd recommend because it's good stuff that you like and subscribe to. So like this video, subscribe to the What Happens Next YouTube channel. We're on a mission at What Happens Next to help you. If you're at a crossroads at your life and you're thinking about what you do next for your life, to just support by sharing really good quality stuff. And one of the interviews that I really enjoyed quite recently was an interview with a guy called John Dunkley. Now, we talked about a range of different subjects with John, including neurodiversity, being the best of you, and the importance of thinking about your own well-being when it comes to what happens next. But one of the interesting conversations was about well-being. And in actual fact, why there's 3 definitions of well-being that we need to think about. The first one is probably the one that we know the most. That's hedonic well-being. That's the well-being of just having fun, just doing stuff you love with people you love and like, just having fun. Now, it's worth giving some thought about what you love to do hedonistically. For me, it's travel. It's good food, normally accompanied by a really good gin. It's great music, particularly live. It's some dad dancing. It's a visit to an art gallery and just wandering. I find that really mindful. It's in playing video games. And because I've got an incredibly sweet tooth, it's a great cheesecake. They're the things for me
If you've enjoyed this and you're looking for more from What Happens Next, there's one place you can find everything. Simply visit whathappensnext.life for all of the interviews we've done so far, the opportunity to take the quiz, the opportunity to sign up for the waiting list for the book, and much, much more.
Pleasures in life that are hedonistic, particularly if I get to share them with friends. Now, you might have a completely different way your hedonistic boat's floated, which might include a Netflix binge, stargazing, wine collecting, and probably a bit of drinking as well, and enjoying a lovely cup of tea. My mum's, by the way, when she was alive, was just a cup of tea and a plate of biscuits. She absolutely loved that. Now, it's important to be aware of these hedonistic pleasures, but if you're only focusing on the hedonistic pleasures alone, you're probably missing a trick when it comes to your overall well-being. And what you should be focusing on is not only hedonistic pleasures, but also something called eudaimonic pleasures. They're activities that give us purpose and meaning. Now, if we're looking at the what happens next model we use to think about what that transition in our lives, that sits right in the middle. It's like, what's the stuff that gets us up in the morning? Typically, that's a longer term goal, and typically that's something with real passion and purpose behind it. But it's not always about hedonistic pleasure. Sometimes achieving eudaimonic well-being means challenging yourself and doing things that sometimes are tiring and tough. But that is an important part of our overall well-being when we're thinking about our well-being. So whilst hedonism is about doing the fun stuff, eudaimonic well-being is about finding purpose in line with your values. Now, my assumption was hedonic and eudaimonic well-being were the two major factors in play when we're thinking about our well-being. But John, in our interview, taught me something really interesting, because there's actually a third. Now, that third aspect of well-being is chaironic happiness. And whilst it sounds like it means sitting in a chair really comfortably, it's actually about finding bliss. So whereas hedonism's could be really accurately defined as pleasurable, eudaimonic might be satisfaction, chaironic happiness is bliss. Now, some people compare that bliss to a feeling of being part of a wider community. Being kind can give us bliss. Giving to a community can give us bliss, but being in that atmosphere where you're entirely, you've got a feeling of spirituality. Now, let's not get confused. If you get that feeling of spirituality from religion, that's absolutely fine. Now, there's often a perception that spirituality is only about religion. And whilst religion can play a part, it doesn't need to. John gave the example of him feeling awe about the world and feeling a real part of a community and feeling that sense of just amazing awe in the middle of a field of 40,000 people at a festival, just dancing and dancing and dancing and loving the experience. Other alternatives might be to meditate, to be in nature, or to be doing stuff in your community. Certainly, they can all give you a sense of awe that you're a small part of a bigger machine in the world. But however you do it, thinking about the activities you can do that give you that sense of bliss is certainly worth doing. So when we're thinking about our overall well-being, do the fun stuff, do the hedonic stuff that makes us happy in a certain way. Think about purpose and values and how that fits into our lives. That's the eudaimonic well-being. But don't forget the potential for the sense of awe by focusing on chaironic well-being too. Hopefully that was useful. I'd love for you, if you didn't like and subscribe at the start but found this video to be of value, to definitely do that. And we'll see you on the next What Happens Next video soon.
Part of the issue we've got when we're thinking about what happens next in our lives is having the self-awareness, having the introspection to be able to think about what the gaps in our well-being are. And we're doing loads of work at the minute with What Happens Next to build solutions that are going to help you think about well-being in a nuanced way when you're thinking about how it applies to your life. One of the first things we've built that you can use today is our What Happens Next quiz. It's free to do, takes about 5 minutes, but what it will do is give you an insight into the areas of strengths when it comes to your well-being and the areas you might want to improve. You can take the What Happens Next quiz at whathappensnext.life/quiz, and I hope it helps you in your journey to work out what happens next for you. So I hope that insight into chaironic well-being was useful. Certainly, I'd love to know. You email me personally at chris@savellafp.co.uk, because I'd love to know how you're going to get more chaironic well-being in your life. And we'll see you next time on the What Happens Next podcast. Bye.